What does a tent do for you? Well, it brings you to places like this and allows you to stay for multiple days enjoying the sights and the sounds of the wilderness. Welcome to another Nutnfancy tent review, wilderness expedition. I always break out my in-field tent reviews in their separate videos. This is one of them. And you're going to see here in a second, we have some visitors at campsite here. Cliffside. See them yet? These are our mountain goat friends. And there's a bunch of them up there, about 20 of them. A mom with her babies just went by, jumping from rock to rock. As we approach the middle of the day here, they're just chilling out, relaxing. There's one over here sunning on the slope too. Check that out. Isn't that cool? We're about 10,500 feet in elevation, about 7.5 miles in the backcountry, and we have been enjoying the presence of our friends, the mountain goats, all morning long. There's a baby mountain goat, a kid on the right-hand side of the screen. Sorry if I'm shaking a little bit, and also the wind's going to kick up. We've been having winds up to 40 miles an hour off and on all morning. But a tent gets you out to places like this, so you can stay and enjoy the sights and have a great time. I like showing you guys the environment that I do these reviews in case there's any doubters. You know, if they think I'm doing this tent review in my own backyard or something stupid like that. Not quite. Disconnecting from the mothership, the tripod, here we are. This is our environment. Our mountain goats over there having a good time. Beautiful cirque. Look at this waterfall off in the distance. Yeah, I'll get to the tent review here in a second, but sorry, I just get distracted by all this. Beautiful, beautiful environment. There's my son, last suspect, Allie the mountain dog. Awesome companions for wilderness adventure. Suspect is a great hiker, and Allie is too. We love having him. This is our campsite. I came here about 7 years ago. We started this fire ring. People have built upon it, and it looks like it's progressing nicely. People have been keeping it clean too. I'm glad to see that. I know. I need to get to my tent review. Here it is. The REI Quarterdome T2 Plus is what was our home last night, and will be our home maybe tonight. I'm deciding if we'll stay another day. And this tent rocks, I will tell you that. It is an outstanding tent, the Quarterdome T2 Plus. Let me start on the exterior, then I'll go on the inside, show you some of the features. First and foremost, let me categorize it. It is not a huge tent. It's more of a medium-sized. I think it's classified as a 3-person. I think it's more of a 2-person tent for sure. 50 inches by 94 inches, I believe, is the floor space. 41 inches high. It's not overly spacious, so don't expect you're going to have tons of room inside. For me, my son, and my dog, it worked fine last night. The only caveat I would say, and I may show you this on the inside, actually I'll just roll footage in as I talk. In wet environments, i.e. lots of rain, lots of snow, when you're really generating a lot of moisture, both from your bodies and probably condensation and such, you want to stay away from the edges of that tent wall. When you have a reduced size tent like this, that's more of a problem because you really don't have the width to spread out. Your sleeping bag may be pushing up against the side walls and it's going to get wet. Like I said in my series of backpacking tent reviews, you really want to stay away from the walls of your tent whenever you can. So keep that in mind when you're talking about the Quarterdome T2 Plus. By the way, this is the enlarged version of the Quarterdome. The regular Quarterdome is going to be smaller. There's no way it would fit me. I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. Or my son and my dog. The dog always comes inside the tent with us. The fly is a home run. The coloration, first off, is perfect. Light mossy green, light gray on the top. Why do I like that? Well, first off, subdued colors. If we make this our base camp and hike away all day long, it's not really noticeable at distance. In fact, a lot of people would walk right by it and not even notice that there's a camp there. You're less susceptible to getting ripped off that way, because a lot of times I'll leave stuff at the camp, or you maybe stash it nearby. Less is more, you know what I'm saying? Another plus on it is just lower visual impact. Out of consideration for your fellow hikers, I'd much prefer a lower subdued color tint than orange or red or something really bright like that. Again, if we're doing expeditions in the snow where we really need to find our tint, then maybe the yellows, the oranges, the reds, maybe the bright blues are better. I'm not sure who makes this tint for REI. They don't make it themselves. I suspect, however, it is Sierra Designs. And the reason I say that is because the clip system on the Quarterdome T2 Plus is just done right. It's outstanding. I'm going to go underneath the fly here. Let me see. Oh, there's a picture right there. It's taut, meaning that it's really tight and it has a nice pitch. There's so many clip design tints. I'm going to go inside here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's so many clip design tints that when they pitch, they're loose and they're wobbly. Notice how tight that is right there. That clip, see that it's pulled tight and it creates a really taut pitch for the entire tint. That's very, very Sierra Designs like. If you want to see a clip design tint done right, Sierra Designs is it. This REI Quarterdome does it as well. Outstanding. And since we're on the inside, you can see indeed it's pure clip design. There's no sleeves that would provide impediments to ventilation. 100% sleeve design. Remember, if we have a fabric sleeve here, as we go up, actually the air parcel comes up, it'll trap it and it can trap moisture as well. There's those fly vents I was telling you about. No gear loft inside, unfortunately. Not a dedicated flattened gear loft. Instead, what the Quarterdome T2 Plus has are gear pockets strategically placed in every corner of the tent, and they are tightly sewn, unlike some other designs we've talked about. So they hold gear quite nicely and tightly. This is interesting. This can be a gear pocket, but it's also, they call it a door stuff pocket. The idea being, if you decided to unzip your mesh door completely, you could just, tuck it in right here. Look at all the mesh, speaking of ventilation, on the Quarterdome T2 Plus. It's everywhere. Sometimes guys will ask me, Nutnfancy, do you like all that mesh on there? And does it produce drafts during the night? Yeah, it will. With a rainfly on, especially a low coverage rainfly like the Quarterdome has, see how low it comes on? Those will be minimized. And I'd much rather have an air interchange, even if it means just a little bit drafty with all this mesh, and stay drier. The alternative to that is to have taffeta or uncoated nylon on the sides of the tent, and it will trap all that moisture that you exhale during the night. With all this mesh in temperate climates, it's just going to, ventilate out and keep you nice and dry. And that's exactly what we experienced last night. Speaking of quality and attention to detail on this tent, look at the corners. By the way, it's a bathtub style of floor, meaning there's no bottom seams. It's a continuous piece of coated fabric all the way up that you don't even have to worry about seam sealing or ingress of moisture at all. Works perfectly. You can see Last Suspect has his Thermax lawn johns tucked in the corner pocket here. Totally seam sealed. See that shininess? This is factory seam seal taping all the way around. It's double fabric reinforced in these stress points, and that corner is a stress point where you're going to pull it tightly when you stake it out, and you always want to stake that floor out nice and tight to maximize livability. Here's the floor design. That's Allie's sleeping pad, by the way. That's why it's so dirty. Hair everywhere. You can see it's not super wide. What did I say, 50 inches? If I'm wrong, I'll annotate it. And about 94 inches long. So snug might be the word for it. Like I said, we fit in it fairly well with our sleeping pads here and our down Mountain Hardwear sleeping bags last night. This is for your fly door. It ties it when you roll it off, or roll it up like this to get it out of the way. There's your Velcro attachments for the poles. Again, you would attach those if you wanted to guy out your fly and create more rigidity for the tent as a whole. Another corner pocket, another corner pocket. Again, I love the colorations. Notice the light gray top and how much light it lets in. That's a very nice design feature. So it's subdued in coloration and yet bright inside. Sometimes if we went with, I don't know, like this olive drab tent floor, if we had that above us, it'd be dark and kind of dreary inside. Not so with the Quarterdome T2 Plus. Moving along, there's a vesti, or vestibule. We just call them vesties for short in the Nutnfancy project. You got two of them, and they're nicely executed on both sides. As you can see, first off, guys will wonder, I always make my own footprints for my tents. I got my gator sitting there. I haven't put my shoes on yet, my boots on yet. In other words, I have an area where I can put my clothing that's not on the mud. If this was wet, as it often is, as you've seen us camping, like in Glacier Call, that's going to be a mud fest. It's nice to have a portion where you can get clean and dry that's outside of the tent. And actually, since the area in the Quarterdome T2 Plus is so diminished, you are going to be using your vestibules for storage of clothing, boots, insoles, maybe, I don't know, some extra stuff, whatever it is, like we did last night. Not huge, you can see they're not like voluminous, but enough room we found last night. And then we have another one on this side as well. The zippers, by the way, are outstanding, and they have that Kelty Triptease reflective pull cord on it. This is like my favorite pull cord ever. I use it for lanyards on my flashlights, my knives, my multi-tools. It's a great way to find it. I have this vestibule, not super tight, because Allie like hit that stake and I haven't relocated. It really needs to be pulled super tight. We're getting we might be breaking the tent down here in a little bit anyhow. There's the vestibule on this side. I got it all messy, I haven't swept it up. I do bring my brush with me. I know, it's extra weight. We like keeping it clean whenever we can. Anyway, back to the tent, good vestibules. Oh, check this out. Here's a nice design feature getting to the quality level of the tent. These are those eyelets I talked to you about. There's one for the tent body and one for the tent fly, and they lock together, which kind of creates more structural integrity for both the tent body and the rain fly. It's a design feature I really haven't seen in another tent. This one goes to the fly, this one's to the tent body. And you can see that pulse system I was telling you about. How it goes across here, creating nice rigidity. Nicely done. The big selling points, I will say, to summarize this tent, are one, it's lightweight, extremely lightweight for the amount of room that it gives you. I don't know, 4.5 pounds, something like that is factory weight. When I do my upgrades, and that is my own cut poly ground sheet, the footprint if you will, 10 MSR groundhog stakes, and I need those 2 extra stakes for this right here to punch out those rainfly ends on the guy lines, just like you see here. And there's that stake there.
You gotta come see this mountain goat, it's really close.
Okay. Sorry, we gotta go back to the mountain goats. Do you guys want to come with and see this too? This is a tent review though, right? That suspect is cracking me up. I'm coming. I'm coming. Dude. I get my flipping sandals on. Where is he? Right there. Oh, look at him. He's right there. Hold her collar. There he is. Hello. Hi, buddy. Hold her. Hey, buddy. That's awesome, dude.
I told you.
That is so cool.
I was like sitting right here, I see him come up. He was like 10 feet from me and just looked at me kind of.
I was telling you about that subdued tent color. You guys didn't believe me. That mountain goat's probably just doing his morning rounds going, yeah, I'm going to truck along. And, oh, humans. We don't let our dog chase the wildlife either, so maybe a ground squirrel here and there, but that's about it. Yes, a good girl. I told you we're getting distracted by all the mountain goat activity here. And you see a view of the Quarterdome T2 Plus. Do I got like sunscreen all over my face?
Kinda.
I do.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, that's just the way it is up here. It's an excellent tent. Super lightweight, I think that's where I left off. With my upgrades, a 10 MSR groundhog stakes, my footprint that I cut, and also a little bit extra guy line, this right here. I'm at about 5 pounds, 5 ounces or so. I'll annotate it if it's something different. The only downside would be cost, like I mentioned, a little bit elevated costs for some users. But the quality, the durability, the weather or the weatherproofness of the tent, I think, are going to be outstanding. And for a smaller size, 3-person, that's what it's rated. More like a 2-person tent. The REI Quarterdome T2 Plus, big home run. It'll allow you to come to places like this, places that are hard to get to. It takes a lot of work to hike into places like this. You know, several thousand feet elevation gain. I don't know, dudes, do you want to be packing in a 9-pound tent? I don't, and we didn't. That was our home away from home in the high altitude environment here. Western United States, Rocky Mountains, mountain goat territory apparently. As last suspect goes around scoping more for me. This is Nutnfancy sign off. I love that Quarterdome. It's a great tent. See you later.